If you're struggling with over pushing and finding that your first step is kind of crashing, or maybe your second step is crashing, then my tip for you would be that when you push through the front block, you're immediately focusing on reversing that leg forward. So oftentimes we think about launching the back leg forward, and obviously you should do that right when the gun goes off. But I find that if instead of focusing on the back foot in the blocks and the first step, which is the back foot makes the first step, the first contact, instead of focusing on getting that foot down, I focus on getting my front foot, my lead leg, back down to the track as quick as possible. And I find that it sets me up a little bit better to strike under the hips, to get that foot down a little bit quicker, a little bit sooner. Whereas if all I do is focus on pushing a lot, then what happens is when I come out of the blocks, I end up kind of being more boundy and too stride length dominant. I don't have enough stride frequency, and I don't get that foot down quick enough, and everything kind of falls apart from there. Because if we don't have the right timing, we're not going to have the right placement. If we don't have the right placement, we can't have good ankle stiffness and really maintain those positions when you hit on that first step. So this is what it looks like if you're going to come out of the blocks like that. Get in normally. Now, in experimenting with this, I've noticed that to the 3 meter mark where I've put a cone with the free lap, if I do this where I focus on popping that knee out of the lead leg, driving the knee leg out, it's not even that I'm trying to drive it like a big range of motion, it's more I'm just trying to pull it off the block so that I can get that second step down sooner. So that way when I hit the ground on the first one, the second, and the third step, it's more like continuous propulsion rather than launch, brake, which would happen if you're being too stride length dominant. And I found that on average, I can knock about a 1/10 off of my 3 meter time, which is really huge. If you can knock a 1/10 off your 3 meter time, it's gonna make the rest of the race a lot easier. You're probably at a higher velocity right here. And if you're at a higher velocity than everyone else at 3 meters, even if you all accelerate at the same rate, you're gonna be pulling away from them the rest of the race. Because when they're at 3 meters per second and they're covering 3 meters in 1 second, you'll be covering 4 meters in 1 second or 5 meters in 1 second. So we really want to get to the highest velocity we can by 3 meters. That doesn't mean we're at the highest stride frequency by that point. It just means that our movements and everything need to line up to propel us out at the right velocity, which is the highest velocity we can reach by about 3 to 5 meters. And when I do this, when I focus on popping that front leg off the block sooner, I tend to get faster times to 3 meters.